Hey guys, welcome back. In this video, we're going to be talking about radar and laser detectors and unboxing the one that I just purchased for my Porsche 911 991. I'm going to have a beer. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm losing my voice. Cheers. Hey guys, so radar detectors and laser jammers, it's not really something that I've ever done a lot of research into or even really seriously considered for my cars in the past. Although they have been on my mind on and off since owning 911s in the past 3 or 4 years. But three things in the past few days have sparked my interest. One, we're in the lockdown and quarantine. So I can fill my days with only so many things at the moment. So I've got, a little bit of extra time on my hands, even though I'm working from home and looking after kids and all that sort of stuff. I want a few projects to sort of, keep my mind off things. So that's one. But two, my friends and I are going to be doing, assuming it doesn't get canceled, a trip to the Tail of the Dragon in June. Whether or not we need to spend the entire week just locked up in living and sleeping in our own cars, or we're actually going to share a cabin. I don't know, we'll figure that out later. But last year when we did the 1,000-mile or so trip to the Tail of the Dragon, a couple of the guys had the radar detectors, and it was really useful to know as we were going, hour after hour for the best part of 16 or 17 hours, just where the cops were. And, we weren't speeding, but there were certainly a couple of times when I'm sure we were at the limit and we were all sort of in a convoy together. You can draw attention to yourself that way. So it was interesting to see where they were. And even just sort of hearing the detector go off and realizing there are such things as false alarms and realizing that you can pick up a cop who's not actually pointing a radar at you, but has it turned on in a car driving the opposite direction. It was pretty fascinating. So I've been thinking about that on and off. But most recently, having wrapped my car in blue, I feel like I'm on display. And this weekend, a bunch of us did a drive together around northern Minnesota area and into Wisconsin. Social distancing, we were all in our own cars, there were no high fives and hugs, anything like that. But being the only one to stand out really from our collection of, grays and silvers and blacks, and then blue, 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 I was thinking, yeah, it's probably time to protect myself a little bit. So here I am talking about radar detectors and laser jammers. Cheers. I'm gonna have a beer. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm losing my voice. Can't be asked going inside to get some water, so cheers. Oh, if you ever go to Des Moines, Iowa, you can check out the Exile Brewery. They have a beer called Ruthie, which is the name of my wife. Cheers, wife. All right, so A, I'm not driving today, don't drink and drive. B, I'm not working on my car, don't wrench and drive. And C, it's the end of the world, fuck it. So, radar and laser detectors. Let's get back to that. So, I've done a couple of things. I've talked to a few friends that have the devices. I've got a couple of guys who have K20s, I think the device is called. You're looking at a couple of $100 from Amazon, and then you put it up behind your rearview mirror, and you plug it into your cigarette lighter and you're away. I'm not a big fan of having loads of gadgets and wires everywhere in the car, so not massively entertained by that idea. Now, you can hardwire those devices. You can either tap into the power that's in the back of the rear view mirror if you have an auto dimming mirror, which I do, so that's one option. And they sell specialist kits that allow you to do that. Or you can run a wire that goes sort of along the top of your window behind the trim, down the pillar, and then directly into your fuse box. That's probably more my liking. Now, if I wanted to spend a couple of grand, including the device and the installation, you could have a fully integrated one. My friend Ben, who drives the Graphite Blue 2nd Gen 991, he has a fully integrated radar detector that came with the car. The previous owner must have installed it. And it's really cool. He has 2 sensors in the front grille of his car. The wiring goes back through the car, snakes inside somehow, and his heads-up display is actually integrated within the instrument cluster. It's a wicked setup. The closest thing I've seen to that is what Nick Murray has on his YouTube channel. He did a whole episode on the devices and knows a lot more about it than I do. But he has the sensors on the front of his car, but his wiring terminates at a little kind of matchbox size, almost maybe a little bit smaller device that gives him a display and a heads up. I think he has it just on the top of his rear view mirror. No, sorry, on the top of his, what are they called? Sun visor, in that sort of position. So if he hears it beep, he can look up and see what it says on the front. Where my friend Ben's, it's within the dashboard. You never know it was there. So if you want to go full James Bond kind of stealth mode, you're looking at, you know, whatever you pay for the device plus about $1,500 in labor to get it installed. But, you know, I've just put the wrap on. I don't want to be fiddling around with that. If I sell the car, which I might do at some point, do I take it off? Do I take the radar detector with me? I'm not going to do that. I'm losing my voice again. Stay there. Cheers. So, I'm going to go for the middle option. I'm not going to go completely Bobby basic and just have my device with the wiring plugged into the cigarette lighter. I'm going to have a device that is behind the mirror, but I'm going to wire it in. I'm going to try and wire it into the mirror itself. If not, I'll put it into the fuse box. So the device I went with is actually the one that Matt Moorman from Obsessed Garage put into his GT3 RS. So A, it's in a Porsche. B, he has a custom holder thing that actually holds it integrated into the mirror so you're not dealing with suction cups, which is the other thing I want to try and avoid. And did I say 1, 2 or A, B? So C or 3. It's Matt Moorman from Obsessed Garage. If it's good enough for Matt, it's definitely good enough and probably too good for me. So here it is. The Uniden R3, I think it is. Yeah, the R3 Extreme. Wait. The R3 Extreme. So I'm pretty excited to get this installed. We're gonna unbox it. We're gonna take a look and see what's in the box. I've got the specialist mount getting delivered tomorrow. I've had it overnight shipped from the vendor. I forget the name, so I'll show you that product tomorrow. That was about 100 bucks. This device itself was on sale from Best Buy, which I just picked up this afternoon. It's $300. So with this and the mount, and then the wiring harness itself is like another 40 bucks, I think, from the folks that create the custom mounts for the Porsches. I'm probably all in, what's that, 450? Losing my voice again. Cheers. Don't drink and drive, don't wrench and drink. Got it? Awesome. Okay, let's take a look at the box and see what comes out of it. This is the Uniden R3 Extreme. User guides, the thing that are super useful, which I often don't read until it's too late. But, you know, I'm going to read it this time. Okay, already I'm impressed. Not only does it come in a nice looking box, it comes in its own carry case. So I imagine this is for people that don't want to leave it installed in their car at all times and, you know, want to sort of like store it in their car. So let's open up the box. Here's the device itself. Wow, it's not as big as I thought it was going to be. And
it's pretty light as well. This looked pretty bulky and heavy. So this is what faces out of the front of your windscreen, and it has a curved piece of plastic on the front, which probably says to me that the sensors give you a pretty wide range view, which allow you to detect signals from multiple angles. And this isn't just a radar detector, this is a laser jammer as well. So here we go. We've got a USB on the side. This is the power on the other side, and there's also an audio output. I'm not sure what we're going to be using that for just yet. And then on the back, we have the heads-up display with some buttons on top, power menu, volume up and down, mute, dim, and then mark. So I'm going to be learning all about that as I play around with this in the next 24 hours before I install it in the car. So there's the device itself. Probably a little bit bigger than a deck of cards, but a very neat looking device. We also have this cheap as crap, ugly suction cup. I've only just picked this up and I'm already not impressed by it. It looks like it's pretty weak and crappy. And the suction cup looks like it's the type of one that isn't going to give you as much suction as you might want. But it'll probably do the job. I'm not going to be using that. I'm going to be using the custom one. It's okay, I guess. It's not totally crappy, but it's also not great. And then in here, we've got the Bobby Basic charger. I mean, first off, these kind of like coily, springy chargers remind me of the telephones we used to have in the 80s and 90s, which just, used to drive me crazy. So that's one thing I'm not having in the car. And then can you imagine this just sort of like dangling down in the middle, moving and rocking as you're driving your car? Yeah, I'm not up for that at all. I mean, you got yourself a luxury sports car like a 911 and you got something like this dangling down from your rear view mirror. I'm not game. And then having to keep this plugged in as well into the cigarette lighter. Yeah, not massively impressed with that. But, useful if you just want the simple solution. And then we've got some other mounting brackets here, which probably keep it attached to the top end of the rear view mirror, I guess, and probably works in partnership with this in some way. But I'm probably not going to need this because the custom mount that I'm going to show you that I bought online, which Matt has from Obsessed Garage, is dope. It's really, really cool. But that's it. That's pretty much all we get in the box. Now I'm going to install it tomorrow.
So the other thing to bear in mind is that there are loads and loads of products on the market. From my research, there are generally like 4 or 5 major brands. I can't even list them off the top of my head. Again, I'm not an expert, but one resource to go to, of course, is YouTube and see what other people are using. Another is an online resource I found called Vortex Radar. There's a YouTube channel, there's a website. It sounds like at least folks like Obsessed Garage recommend this guy. He has loads of different perspectives and some great videos showing you the differences between some of the cheaper and more expensive products. There are loads of different things to consider. One important thing actually is whether or not these are legal where you live. There are different rules in different states here in the US. I think radar detectors are generally acceptable in most of the states, if not all of them. Don't quote me on that. But I know for sure that there are several states that have made laser jammers illegal. And I believe Minnesota is one of these. So another thing I need to consider is whether or not this is actually suitable for my car, because thinking about it, now I've bought it, it's a radar detector and a laser detector. Is it a laser jammer? I don't know, I better research this a little bit more, I guess. But there are those things to take into consideration, and some of them work better than others. And now, usually speaking, there are radar guns. There are several brands that law enforcement officers use. There are laser guns. Sounds like something from Star Wars. And again, there are several different types that people use or law enforcement use. Some of them are more accurate than others. Some of them are older and less reliable. Some of the newer ones are much more reliable. But generally speaking, if a cop is going to be pointing a gun radar or laser at a car, they're going to be aiming for one of the headlights or center mass, usually just above the license plate or on the license plate if they can do that. And it can be anywhere from sort of 1,000 yards away to a couple of hundred yards away as you're approaching the officer's fixed position, or the officer will wait till you pass them and then they can try and get a signal from your your rear license plate, and if they're lucky, other parts of your bumper. But generally speaking, from what I understand, it's license plate, and the front two headlights where they try and get you from. So those things to consider as well. Exactly where you want to put this, making sure that the view on the road, out to the road, there's no obstructions. Apparently, if you are putting the sensors on the front of your car, putting them next to plastic is very important, as opposed to putting them next to metal. Putting them behind your grille, where like Lexus, for example, and other brands have that kind of like honeycomb sort of front mesh grille. Putting your sensors behind that plastic, even though they can see out a little bit, can ruin the effectiveness by like up to 50%, which if you're spending this much money, do you want to have 50-50 chance that you're gonna get zapped? I don't know, that's not great either. So loads to research. Definitely research your local laws, but I'm gonna give this a go. If it's pretty good, I'll keep it. If not, I'll sell it and find something else. So that's it for another video, guys. Thanks for checking in. Just a pretty quick one today to show you through my new radar detector. If the rest of the stuff I need arrives tomorrow as planned, I'm gonna be installing it tomorrow night. For the time being, I'm gonna go and check on the kids and make sure they're still asleep. Crack on. Cheers.